Government intensifies efforts to provide more seeds and seedlings to increase food production in Cameroon as the country observes World Food Day under the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. The National Civil Aviation Security Committee have been reviewing airport security in Cameroon as the airports become very active again after the coronavirus pandemic attack. And it came to pass that the people who are called by God's name humbled themselves and prayed for peace and more peace in the northwest and southwest regions. This was in Boka Nguti subdivision in the southwest. Good evening and thanks for joining us on the 7:30 news tonight. I am Benin Bumagana in Yaoundé.
Each of us must comply with the measures that have been taken.
This newscast from the Star Building, where the African Regional Director of Huawei Group has donated 100 million CFA francs as his company's contribution to support the fight against COVID-19 in Cameroon. Mr. Kao Jibin handed over the check to the Prime Minister and Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph Dion Gute, during an audience accorded the Huawei Director and the Prime Minister's office this afternoon. Details with Star Building correspondent Christian Che-Atams.
The audience, which Prime Minister Joseph Dion Gute granted the African Regional Director of the Huawei Group on behalf of the head of state, was a platform for the top-level executive of Huawei to express the gratitude of his enterprise to the President of the Republic, the government of the country, and the entire people of Cameroon for what he terms the collaboration and mutual respect vis-à-vis his enterprise. Mr. Kao Jibin said the restrictive measures put in place against COVID-19 in Cameroon protected not only Cameroonians but also workers of Huawei in the country. He told Prime Minister Joseph Dion Gute that since the outbreak of COVID-19, his company has offered some 15,000 masks to different institutions and video conferencing equipment to 3 ministries. The Huawei African Director handed over a symbolic check of 100 million francs to the Prime Minister as part of his company's effort to support Cameroon's anti-COVID campaign.
We discussed about our job during the epidemic for the ICT talent training and some of the strategic projects execution.
Mr. Kao Jibin told Prime Minister Joseph Dion Gute that his company will continue accompanying Cameroon in the promotion of education, the development of ICTs, and the promotion of renewable energies.
The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Gabriel Mbairobe, says government will intensify efforts to provide more seeds and seedlings in order to increase food production to meet the needs of the ever-growing population. Gabriel Mbairobe was speaking today on the occasion of the 2020 edition of the World Food Day, observed in Yaoundé under the theme, Grow, Nourish, Sustain Together Our Action, Our Future. Luma Slim Davis reports.
The theme of the 2020 edition of the World Food Day, Grow, Nourish, Sustain Together. Our actions are our future clearly reflects government's aspirations in the agricultural sector.
We are looking forward to provide improved seed and seedling, make sure that vulnerable people like young people will have access to nutrition.
It was an occasion to exhibit Cameroon's capabilities in food production and agricultural materials.
The population is increasing. The challenge we face is to provide food for this population.
The rounds at the stands permitted people to be informed on a variety of products and projects.
We have already elaborated some key documents and will be very soon going to the field to collect statistical data concerning agriculture, livestock, fisheries in collaboration with the 4th General Census for the Population and Housing.
The day's celebration was spiced with music and dancing.
Praises for the rural women is a motivation to produce more, and the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family has been quick to commend efforts made by rural women in the production of food that feeds the country. Professor Marie Teresa Benandua has used the celebration of this year's World Rural Women's Day at Ngatbane, a locality in the Nyong and So division, to distribute farm tools to women. Beatrice Ngum reports.
Various farming cooperatives turned out to show the fruit of their labor here in rural Ngatbane. We have an exhibition of farm produce and processed foods. The farmers' efforts have been encouraged with supplies of farm tools and seedlings.
If women living in rural areas do not work, we will starve in towns. So we brought them, with the support of our partners, some tools.
Besides assisting them, Women's Empowerment Minister Marie Teresa Benandua also schooled the rural women on the importance of respecting COVID-19 barrier measures and on their daily challenges.
We came to Ngatbane to tell them that coronavirus is still with us. They should use barrier measures. We know that they have problems with access roads. Things will get better, so they should not give up.
Flanked by other members of government and Circle of Friends of Cameroon's coordinator Grace Dion Guti, they were so impressed that they could not resist visiting some of the farms, helping the locals in the cassava and maize farm in Avebe and Mengeme, as well as checking on these cassava production units in Balmayo, where the plant is processed into starch.
On to one of our lead stories. Members of the National Civil Aviation Security met in Yaoundé this afternoon to review airport security and the operationalization of security measures at Cameroon's airports. The session was chaired by the Minister of Transport, Jean-Enes Massenan-Galebibe. Ewane Epole reports.
The annual meeting of the National Civil Aviation Security Committee held in Yaoundé this Friday and was chaired by the Minister of Transport, Jean-Enes Ngalebibehe. The substance of this year's session, organized late because of the coronavirus pandemic, focused on air security review, full-scale security exercise reporting, and many other topics such as operationalization of security measures at the Cameroon's airports.
One of our big challenges is really the illegal occupation of land around airports. When you have population living around airport, it causes problems. For example, you can have animals going onto the runway. Having an animal in the runway when the aircraft is about to take off or land can be catastrophic. So we really want to discuss how we can stop that illegal occupation of lands around our airports.
It was a forum to invite all actors to exercise more synergy, collaboration and cohesion in order to bar the way to the enemies of civil aviation.
The Ministry of the Environment, Protection of Nature and Sustainable Development and the Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF, have signed an agreement to speed up the process of the reduction of emissions from deforestation and forest degradation, REDO+, and related initiatives in Cameroon. Here now is an excerpt of the interview of the National Director of the Worldwide Fund for Nature, Clotilde Ngomba.
We wanted to ensure that all stakeholders have the same understanding of where we stand. Cameroon are going to benefit, first of all, from the image, the commitment to work with the international community toward the reduction of emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. And in terms of that, contribute to the fight against climate change and mitigation of those climate change.
Members of the ethics clubs of higher education institutions have been attending a training seminar in Yaoundé intended to enhance their wills in the fight against corruption. CONAC Chairman Jerone Massigams has been encouraging participants to be shining examples amongst their peers. Ibneza Akanga reports.
As the 2020-2021 university year opens, the National Anti-Corruption Commission, CONAC, is trying to make sure corruption is reduced to its barest minimum on campuses. CONAC is organizing a training seminar in Yaoundé for members of integrity clubs in higher education institutions. The training seminar is to arm the members of the clubs with the skills of promoting integrity in their various institutions, giving fresh impetus to integrity clubs which are existing, and creating orders in institutions which do not.
These similar practices where students come and get transcript and they get their certificates passing through the back door.
Opening the training seminar, the chairman of CONAC underscored the importance of integrity clubs.
Sensitize education community on these principles, mobilize the education community on the issues of challenges of promoting integrity in young people.
Diodone Masigams cautioned the participants at the training seminar to be shining examples among their peers so that their attitudes do not betray what they say.
8 assessors attached to the military bench of the Court of Appeal for the Central Region have taken oath of office today in Yaoundé. The solemn engagement ceremony was presided over by the Vice President of the Court of Appeal for the Central Region, Mbang, who prescribed the respect of human rights and obligations of the profession to the military judges. Details with you, Sidoni Jobmandi.
The solemn engagement follows the decree signed by the head of states on August 7th, appointing them in different courts all over the national territory. For the military judges, taking an oath in a court of law is to accept to work in conformity with prescriptions of the judicial system.
We've been summoned to play a key role in the judgment of the people. We are conscious that what we are going to do is to bring a part of our own professional experience in our duty and in our lives to help the people being rendered justice without any problems.
While taking the oath to respect principles of their profession and to adequately honor the rights of the Republic, important recommendations on how to manage crisis were also made by the Vice President of the Central Court of Appeal to these military judges.
Let's go over to the Northwest region, where in Tuba, the council has been offering didactic materials to some students, pupils, and even families to encourage back to school in that part of the country. Let's go over to the Northwest region for details in the story.
In the Tuba municipality, key commercial and social activities, including education, have been tested by the current socio-political unrest. These 100 recipients of the council's 3 million Save Friends holiday scheme are students with difficult schooling memories.
I woke up sometime that shooting guns. I still go to school that day. I still go.
After success at the ordinary level GCE this year, he is making an appeal to absentee teachers to listen to classroom voices.
I'm begging on the government to now tell those teachers actually should really go back to school because we are there for them to teach us.
With hygiene and decoration objectives attained, attention is refocused on education.
In order to encourage them to go back to school, we support them with small meager amounts to make sure we support their parents in their education.
The Tuba Council officials indicate that only 40 youth in the municipality were expected to benefit from the holiday scheme, but the increasing numbers obliged the council to step up to 100 recipients, indicating the readiness of young persons in the area for mainstream education.
Thank you, Kilo Valerie Sala. Let's go over now to the far north region, where well-wishers and elite of that part of the country have donated school materials to internally displaced persons who are in that part of the country. Details from the far north region.
Although far away from home, a group of Cameroonian university students in Turkey, under the banner of the association Education for All, are concerned about the plight of internally displaced pupils and students. To the coordinator, the donation of school materials to over 300 young IDPs from the northwest, southwest, and far north regions is in line with this.
The symbolic of us giving the school materials should also know that us as Cameroonians who are maybe protected from these calamities are also with them.
Meanwhile, the beneficiaries express gratitude to the donor who, through this gesture, has put smiles on their faces.
I'm very happy for the gift that they gave us because I was very happy in school back.
I would like to thank the Association Education for All for giving us this bag on the books to go back to school.
The administration of Marwa's one subdivision used the occasion to encourage other goodwill persons and groups to emulate the example of PATYCHOU.
Some initially displaced pregnant women in hospitals in the Yaoundé 6 subdivision have received delivery and anti-COVID preventive kits. The donation made by Mfundi Member of Parliament Honorable Yeba Judith Meno in partnership with the NGO Action for Women and Families intended to show love and care to this category of women. Details with Contra Marie Cledo in the Central Region.
In her quest to build a better society and invest in women who are in difficulties, especially during this COVID-19, the Member of Parliament for Fundi has decided to stretch a hand of fellowship to IDP pregnant women in her constituency.
We have given them delivery kits, we have given them facial masks, we have given them hand sanitizers and other delivery items to the health centers concerned.
Partnering with an NGO called Action for Women and Family, the gesture reached out to close to 800 IDPs and some hospitals in the locality.
IDPs, because you live in your own home, you have difficulties. What more of moving from your home to a place where you don't even know, especially pregnant women. Pregnancy is on its own is first of all very challenging.
The ceremony that took place in the Yaoundé 6 Center for Women's Empowerment and the Family was marked by health talks on some barrier measures against COVID-19 and the rights and obligations of women.
Now, this press release from the Presidency of the Republic. In the capacity of personal representative of Mrs. Chantal Biya, spouse of the head of state and founding president of the Circle of Friends of Cameroon, CERAC, Mrs. Kulsumi Alhaji Epuz Bukar, Secretary of State to the Minister of Forestry and Wildlife, Regional Delegate of CERAC for Adamawa, will chair the ceremony for the handing over of CERAC gifts to the Center Government Primary Practicing School, the Women's Empowerment and Family Center of Ngaoundere, Rural Women and Disabled Persons of Vina Division, Adamawa Region, on Saturday, October 17, 2020 at 12 noon in strict compliance with anti-COVID-19 prescriptions. Signed, the Director of Cabinet, Samuel Vondo Ayolo. The pioneer city mayor of Bolova in the South region, Dr. Daniel Ejo, has taken over office and has been charged to give the city a facelift. The mayor was installed today by the SDO of the Villa, Siliak Marin Vogo, alongside those of Bolova 1 and 2 municipalities. Clarence Aze tells us the complete story.
Ensuring the socio-economic development of the South Regional Chieftown through the provision of basic social amenities, fighting against urban disorder are some of the prescriptions made by the Senior Divisional Officer for the Villa, Siliak Marin Vogo, as he installed 50-year-old Dr. Daniel Ejo as the pioneer city mayor of Bolova.
I would like them to do all their best in order to promote local development.
Dr. Daniel Ejo, the city mayor, as well as the mayor of Bolova 1, Joel Emmanuel Bitumo, and that of Bolova 2, Andre Thomas Bengon, also installed Friday, have on their shoulders the responsibility to be at the vanguard of the reformed decentralization process.
We have to make sure that the streets in the urban zone are in good shape. We have to make sure that the people in the Bolova city have access to potable water.
During the colorful ceremony, grounds attended by a cross-section of the population of Bolova and members of the elite of the Villa, councillors of the different municipalities also received attributes corresponding to their functions.
Over in the Adamawa region, a free breast and cervical cancer screening has been going on at the Ngaoundere Regional Hospital. Our Adamawa regional correspondent, Silence Coin, says the campaign is aimed at eliminating precancerous lesions. Here is his report.
Just hearing the name cancer gets women in Ngaoundere excited. It's scary. That's why I came to the hospital. One never knows. Breast cancer is one of the most common causes of death among women.
It's very alarming in Cameroon. The mortality rate also is very high. So we can say that even in the Adamawa, it will be the same figures.
At the family planning room of the regional hospital, Dr. Jijo and her team of nurses are working actively, screening, detecting, and providing treatment to eliminate the lesions.
First, we start by do a counseling. So we register the patient in our book and we do the counseling. We explain to the patient how we are going to do the screening. For the breast cancer, we just do an examination of the breast. So we see how the breast is presenting, if there is any lesion, and then we do what we call palpation.
The campaign launching at the regional hospital brought different experts, the women and the underprivileged in particular. The exercise may seem simple, but it's what is required to keep alive women who cannot afford high hospital costs.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
Let's now talk about our fight against the coronavirus pandemic. For the past 8 months, non-governmental organizations and associations have partnered with the Ministry of Public Health to halt the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. The World Health Organization and Doctors Without Borders have been organizing sensitization and free screening campaigns in the fight against the spread of COVID-19. Baldwin Sama is standing by at the Public Health Emergency Center for details. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Benin Bumagana. They play a very, very vital role helping the government of Cameroon to fight against this deadly virus. Ever since we had the first case confirmed in the country in the month of March, we're talking about partners of the Ministry of Public Health. We have constantly talked about the roles played by the World Health Organization and even Doctors Without Borders. What exactly is the key role played by these different partners of the Ministry of Public Health in the fight against the coronavirus? We discussed with one of the partners. He is the country director of ICAP, that's Dr. Gabriel Ekali. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, sir.
Tell me, Doctor, what exactly does your organization do helping the government of Cameroon in the fight against the coronavirus?
So thank you very much. ICAP at Columbia University, the country office in Cameroon, has provided training to the health facility staff where we carried out interventions. So that's essentially in the 3 northern regions. We cover 74 health facilities. So we've trained the staff on infection prevention and control measures. We've provided personal protective equipment. And we are also supporting the government to implement and conduct a national sero-survey study on COVID-19.
And have you carried out an assessment so far for these parts of the country, talking about some of the works, the support you've been giving into the government of Cameroon ever since we had the outbreak of this virus in the country?
Effectively, we have done that, and the feedback has been very positive from the health facilities, from the communities where we work in.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gabriel Ekali. He is the country director of ICAP, one of these partner organizations helping the government of the country, helping the government of Cameroon fight against the spread of the coronavirus. We will take you to the regions beginning this Saturday. Back to you, Benin Bumagana.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Baldwin Sama von Cayman. And still talking about COVID and other health-related issues, the Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malashi, and the members of the delegation of the ministry have been paying a walking visit to Kribi to get all of these in line, as we hear in this report by Serino Azeke.
The Secretary of State in the Ministry of Public Health in charge of pandemics and epidemics, Alim Ayatu, after visiting Longi, a locality in the Ocean Division that has been hard hit by cholera epidemic with about 773 infected cases and about 33 recorded deaths, the Kribi District Hospital COVID-19 Treatment Center, as well as the Kribi Deep Sea Port Health Unit.
I'd like to thank all personnel of Ministry of Santé Publique, so that all infirmiers, doctors, all participate on the fight against three pandemics: cholera, COVID-19 and rougeole. This is very, very important for Cameroon.
Mr. Alim Ayatu also challenged the population of the Ocean Division to join the administrative and health authorities, NGOs, civil societies, and a host of others in the fight against these killer diseases by merely respecting all the sanitary measures prescribed by the government. His presence in Kribi put a smile on the faces of the population of the ocean, especially the epidemic-affected zones, who appreciated the government for thinking of them in their trial moments.
Okay, that was Rada Polycarp Atye instead of Serino Zeke. The importance of decentralization or the decentralization process and funding to enhance local development was the substance of a sensitization forum dubbed Déjeuner de la Décentralisation, organized on Thursday in Yaoundé. Chaired by Senator Pierre-Henri Ngali Ngoa, the forum brought together municipal authorities and the civil society, as we hear in this report by Wane Pole.
Discussions during the forum dubbed Déjeuner de la Décentralisation centered on the decentralization process.
To improve your knowledge about the law on decentralization, because a lot of people don't know exactly what is in this law.
The over 50 participants exchanged on the number of issues in regard to local development.
We don't have enough human resources, but financial resources if be to improve our development about the region. All power from Yaoundé will go in the region.
According to officials of HEGT, the sensitization forums are being organized to educate the civil society on the importance of the decentralization process as municipal authorities and traditional rulers are preparing for the upcoming regional elections.
A solemn mass has been said in the shrine of Our Lady of Fatima in Boka, in Guti subdivision of the Southwest region, to mark the end of the Marian Year for Peace in the Manfred Diocese and the English-speaking regions of Cameroon. The Catholic faithful thanked the Blessed Virgin Mary for interceding to God for the peace that is beginning to return to the Northwest and Southwest regions. Ibneza Akanga traveled to Boka and brought back this report.
On the 13th of October 2019, His Grace Andrew Nkeya, who was Bishop of the Manfred Diocese, launched the Marian Year for Peace in the shrine of Our Lady of Fatima in Boka Village, Nguti subdivision of the Southwest region. For 1 year, intense prayers were said in the shrine for peace. Manfred Diocese, the Northwest and Southwest regions, and Cameroon.
Last year, we launched the Marian Year for Peace. And from this center, the whole diocese gathered together with all other Christians of goodwill from all over Cameroon to start praying. And I think we are seeing the fruits.
The solemn mass was attended by a strong delegation of the Catholic Men Association, whose national president, Okie Johnson-Do, is the initiator of the Shrine of Our Lady of Fatima.
It would have been somebody else, but God decided to choose me. So it's not something that Johnson did, but it's an assignment from God.
Closing the Marian Year, His Grace Andrew Nkeya said that prayers will continue to be made for the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary till lasting peace returns.
Now let's find out where you can go to have fun this weekend. So on our cultural agenda page for tonight, musical artist Big Lad will release a new album titled Fudu, in which she narrates her experience as an artist. This will be in Yaoundé this evening. And on Sunday evening, movie lovers can watch the film titled Petit Pays at the French Cultural Institute in Douala. Joyce Tata is here with more.
Cameroonian artist Big Lad in Yaoundé launches a new album this weekend.
J'aurais pu donner mon être et mon âme, mon identité, ma vie entière.
At the French Cultural Institute in Douala on Saturday as from 5 p.m., Lidol and Urich Takam welcomes you to a live show of humor and music.
Vous ne pouvez pas me retirer Alison. En fait, Alison, j'ai 10 enfants que je tiens, mais le problème c'est que vous êtes le parent que vous payez toujours content. Du coup, si vous retirez Alison...
Bonjour, monsieur.
Vous voyez, même dans son bonjour, il y a une envie de venir faire coup avec moi.
Gabriel Chapin, ne crois pas que je t'ai pas vu, hein?
Les enfants, sortez de mon jardin!
And on Sunday at the cinema hall of the same cultural center, you could watch the movie Petit Pays as from 6 p.m. to grace your moments of relaxation. Happy weekend to all.
Now you know where to go to this weekend. Thank you very much for watching the 7:30 news. Atabajunoma will be here for the 8:30 news, and I will be back tomorrow for what is making news in Cameroon and out of Cameroon. God bless you. Good night.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.